Glorilla Goes Gospel.
Glorilla Goes Gospel.
She won the BET Award. And so now there's a large conversation on is inviting secular artists in compromising the industry, or does it enlarge it?
Yeah. I have several thoughts on this again. It was time for the implantation. We do the implantation. It takes 2 weeks. I go through everything that we're supposed to do, and the doctor calls and said, "I'm so sorry, but you guys lost the baby."
Wow.
And I at that point, Dr. Bryant, I'm telling you, I called Bishop Murphy immediately, and I said, my faith is shattered.
Hey, family, buckle up. Today is a super spectacular day. It feels like Christmas Eve, and it's not, but I got one of the greatest gifts to the body of Christ. Tasha Cobbs Leonard. Is that Cobb or Cobbs?
Cobbs.
With an S.
With an S.
Tasha Cobbs Leonard, not corn on the cob. Tasha Cobbs Leonard is in the building. I'm glad to have you.
I am glad to be here.
You look amazing.
Thank you. You too.
No,
always.
I mean, you between Nona Hendrix and Fantasia. I love it all.
Listen.
Come on.
I want to live.
Listen, to see it happen.
Come on.
I got to deal with something I've been carrying on my heart for a long time. Seriously, it's really bothered me. And I was upset about it. How long you been married?
8 years.
8 years. So 8 years ago, y'all had a pop-up. Wasn't the wedding a pop-up?
It was, yeah.
Yes.
It was a private, secret wedding.
Yes. The Sunday before that, I saw you.
Okay.
I was at the Dream Center.
Right.
Yes, the Sunday before the pop-up.
I ain't say nothing about it.
Then that Saturday, my whole timeline is blowing up.
Oh.
I'm like, I was just with her. It was in that moment I knew I was in the outer court.
Oh, no.
I knew I was in the outer court.
Never.
I'm like, what has just happened?
No.
But no, to see the whole blossoming has been amazing.
Wow. Thank you, Dr. Bryant.
So
I had to do it that way.
I get it.
Yeah.
I wanted to do it that way.
Yeah.
I wanted to do it that way. You made it easy.
We did.
Yeah.
It was so fun. So we told our family that they were coming to a New Year's dinner.
Yes.
We invited our family members and friends.
Yes.
And so everybody showed up with like dinner clothes on.
Yes.
And as soon as they got there, I wanted them to see that it was a wedding. So we had ballet outside. The cake was in the window. Oh, they was mad. They was like,
wow.
I would have put on something else.
Right.
Yeah, so we did. We had a private wedding for just family.
No, that's great. Kerry Washington said that the secret to her marital success is safeguarding privacy, living as a public person.
Yes.
And you started off
that way.
You started off that way. Give me Blue's Clues. I need you to give me helpful hints on how you all are balancing that place of privacy while being public servants.
Now, you know what? That's a loaded question for me, because though we've been married 8 years, we've been pastoring for 5.
Yeah.
And so my career allowed for me to be private, but the pastoring thing, I have to allow people into spaces that I've never had to allow people into.
You talking about at the church?
So I'm talking about church, career,
but I'm saying
all
you've
of this
been
kind
public
of stuff.
more than 5 years.
No, I mean, we've been married for 8 years.
Yes.
In the church, we've only been pastoring for 5. So I'm pulling the church in there because it's pulling this space out of me that I wasn't used to exposing to people.
To that group of
people. So my
people.
career allowed me not to have to be like so intimate is what I'm talking about.
Okay, I got it.
Yes, intimate, not public, but intimate with people. So the public piece with Kenny and I think because I got married at 36 and I had already been used to being on a platform in the public eye, I had kind of mastered what how to show people as much as I wanted them to see.
Right.
Now, it was a little different because you got family now. You got a husband who's just used to this.
Right.
And honestly, our family's still trying to get used to it.
I get it. I get it.
You can't do that. You can't say that.
Right.
You can't post that.
Right.
So I think you guys are doing a great job, though.
Oh, listen.
Yeah, like
not by accident.
Because
it's plotting
you're doing
through.
a great job. And I think that's what it is being intentional in every moment to agree, okay, this is something that we just want to keep in house. Like for us, we also have a blended family.
Yes.
So it's been a very interesting dynamic because the kids, I'm just Miss Tasha, I'm mama.
Yeah.
And so we're out and people like, can I have a picture? They like, why I want a picture with you? So it's kind of interesting to navigate. Sometimes they'll get mad. We eating. Why we
Yes.
And I think it's just an interesting space to navigate.
I am not aware. I'm not fully aware of integrating with the public until my children are with me. So I can go through the airport, go through the mall. Sure, you want to take a picture? My girls are looking there.
Yeah, because they're ready to go. We on vacation.
Yeah, let's keep it moving. What is happening here?
Yeah, because to them, you daddy.
Yeah.
Right.
And that's it.
Yes.
And there ain't no preach black man. Yeah. Meet me in H&M.
Exactly.
I'm out of here.
Yeah.
What has been the hardest part of the transition of being a pastor?
And I think that's what I was, it's kind of mentioned. It's two things that I believe that my career prepared me for, but my husband is so much like my daddy. He has like this pastor's heart and, I'm going to give it all I got.
Yeah.
So my career allowed me to give you me without completely giving you me.
Right.
And to watch how much he loves and how much he gives.
Yeah.
Thinking, oh man, I hope this person don't leave.
Oh yeah.
I hope this don't break him. I hope it doesn't break his heart. So I think for me, navigating the wife who cares, who wants to cover, who wants to be Holy Spirit in the house to give hints. Like I think you need to watch that. Just navigating when to speak, what to say, how to pray.
Yeah.
And how to embrace even people who may leave.
Ooh.
And we don't get to talk about that a lot, but it's a real thing. I think we're in a world that loves to talk about trauma.
Yeah.
But if anybody ever talked about the trauma of a pastor.
Yeah. Listen, welcome to General Hospital, Channel 2 at 1:30 in the afternoon.
Right.
My dad, years ago, went to go preach somewhere. Mm-hmm. I don't even remember where we were. I was a kid. Went to go preach somewhere, and he had preached this sermon he had preached somewhere before. And one of the old church ladies said to him, Rev, you ain't hearing from God? We done heard that message. And he said something that really pivoted me, and I've not said this to anybody in your space, is he said, you'll go in the car, and you can listen to the same song for 5 years. But if you hear the same sermon twice, you question whether God is still speaking.
Jeez.
There are people around the world who want to hear you break every chain.
Every single.
Yes, but if you come back next Sunday and do that exact same word, it's like, was Tasha praying this week? Was she that busy? There were people who will drive from Atlanta to go hear you sing that song.
The same song.
Same song.
That is loaded.
Yeah.
Wow.
How are you able to navigate that space of people wanting to latch on to familiar oil, but are suspicious of the new oil that you have?
Ooh. I was at an event for... we're getting ready to do a new album.
Yes.
And so I was there singing some of the new songs, and it was like an exclusive group of people, so they won over radio or something like that.
Right.
And afterwards, we're taking pictures. So I'm taking pictures, and people keep coming up talking about how they enjoyed it. And one lady came up, she took the picture. She said, now, I was waiting on Break Every Chain.
Listen.
I said, well, we doing new music today. Well, I'm old school. I like the old stuff. I feel like there are Break Every Chain it's a hymn. It's gonna live.
Oh,
it's gonna live, it's gonna speak, it's gonna be anointed every single time. There's not been a time that I've sang that song and chains weren't broken immediately.
Wow.
Over almost 12 years now. Like, people ask me all the time, do you get tired of singing it? No, I always sing it with expectation.
Yeah.
I'm almost eager to get there.
Yeah.
Because I know something is about to happen. So it's not about that. I believe that it's a part of the foundation that I'm constantly building on. Like, I can't keep growing as an individual and try to keep my oil at just break every chain.
Wow.
I've expanded. I've grown. I'm a mom now.
Yeah.
I'm a wife now. So the experience will lead me to minister from a different space, even though break every chain is always a part of the foundation.
Bishop William Murphy was here 2 months ago. He's sitting beside me. He trying to be in prayer and intercession before he go up. I elbowed him. He's still trying to be down. I said, hey, man. He's like, what? I said, I know you got a project, but if you don't lean in that direction, we gonna have a problem.
We got to lean today.
Yeah, no. Yeah, so no, tell me about the new project.
Oh, yeah. So this one is self-titled. It's called Tasha, and it is my first studio project.
Wow.
So I was a little nervous about that, but this experience has been so what's the word? Like, I feel like my first album, like Grace. I had this excitement, almost like a kid again.
Yeah.
Like, it brought something new out of me, something where my knees are shaking again.
Wow.
I'm nervous because I don't know this space. I know how to stand in front of a crowd, sing about 10 songs, release the glory, everybody have a moment. But to do it over a span of time, where you can infuse different creative ideas. We had an opportunity to bring in portions of our lives into this project. So I'm gonna drop something on you that's fresh. This is exclusive, right? So our church, we celebrated 5 years, and normally
that's crazy.
I know, ain't that crazy? We started in the pandemic.
That's crazy.
The month after, we started in April, the month after the pandemic. So for 2.5 years, we were only online. So we've been in person for 2 years.
Wow.
Yep. 3 services, Spartanburg. The church is it's amazing. Great people.
I'm throwing you off track, but
no,
I got to pull a needle on. Did you ever think God would have you in Spartanburg, South Carolina?
I did not. I didn't think that I would be pastoring. My husband tricked me. I asked him because, I had walked with my dad. I walked with Bishop Murphy.
Yeah.
I was like, I done did the pastoring thing.
Yes.
We on a date, and I say to him, are you called a pastor?
You asked him directly.
I sure did. He's sitting right over there. Y'all can't see him. And he looked me in my eyes and said, no, I was tricked.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah, so Spartanburg, it is beautiful. It is beautiful to watch. We're in the middle of the Bible Belt.
Yeah.
So you have a lot of people who are just trying to break away from religion, this, and I don't mean like the religion of just, I gotta go to church. Yes. It's a culture. Like, they've been at grandmama's church. They've been at mama's church. And now there's something that's being birthed that's new, that's fresh, that is, it's something that they're drawn to. And so it's called the Purpose Place. And
for those of you who don't know, South Carolina is the last colony in the United States. It is, she's saying it's a culture.
Yeah.
South Carolina, and I don't mean this with shade. My family's from Georgetown, South Carolina. So I know South Carolina well. South Carolina is Cracker Barrel.
It's the truth.
Seriously. I don't care whether you're in Columbia or Charleston. I'm talking about the mindset. So for you all to come in there, and I've not been in their building, but for them to go in there and it ain't no hymn books.
Come on.
And they just telling people, lift up your hand. In South Carolina.
But they are ready.
They ready. It's evidence what you were doing, what Travis is doing.
Yes.
There's a revival that is happening in South Carolina.
It is.
In ways that you can't
really explain.
No, you can't explain it. The only difference, I'm going to go out on a limb. The only difference between what you are experiencing and Travis is experiencing is just because of a limited population.
Yeah.
That same pace of growth If you dropped that in Houston, dropped it in Chicago,
wow,
dropped it in Atlanta, you'd be in a whole different oxygen tank.
Wow.
And the sin of David was not Bathsheba. It was counting the people. That's the greatest temptation for anointed people, is to not count what you got. Is say, man, this is where it is that I'm planted. This is where it is that he got me.
Wow.
We talking about your new record. Go ahead. I'm sorry, this family. Go ahead, talk about the new record.
So I don't even know where I know you right.
Your knees are shaking.
Yes.
It's like the first album.
So excited. So like, and I mean Smile, not Grace. The Smile album that my daddy paid for. like this is all fresh, all new, but I'm really following the voice of God, right? So he says to me, I've put you on platforms to lead in corporate settings for the masses.
Yeah.
He told me this time, I want you to be their personal worship leader.
Wow.
And and I'm gonna go back to 2021, 2020. My husband and I, we were trying to have a baby. We were ready. And we had all these prophecies, all the words spoken, y'all gonna have a baby. And I've told this a few times, and we believe God. So we went to the doctor. We found out I had endometriosis. And so we leaning into faith without works is dead. So we decided we're gonna do the work. We're gonna do the work because God said we're gonna have a baby. So we fly to Houston once a month for a year. Every single month, we fly to Houston so I can get an injection to clear the endometriosis out of my body. And so after a year, the doctors cleared us. They said, okay, you can move forward with IVF.
Yeah.
We go forward with IVF. It takes a little while. Of course, you got to do all of the injections and everything. And so we did that. And it was time for the implantation. We do the implantation. It takes 2 weeks. I go through everything that we're supposed to do. And the doctor calls and said, I'm so sorry, but you guys lost the baby.
Wow.
And I at that point, Dr. Bryant, I'm telling you, I called Bishop Murphy immediately and I said, my faith is shattered.
Yeah.
Like it was the first time in my life where I started questioning what I believed.
Wow.
Because my thought was, God, this is the one thing I've dedicated my life for you. Everything that I do, my career, my ministry, everything that I do. But this is the one thing I wanted for me. And it failed. My faith was shattered. 3 days later, we were scheduled to be in Nashville at the Ryman to record my next project, Royalty. So I'm thinking we're going into royalty. I did crowns on the photo shoot. I got on gold. And I'm thinking I'm singing about royal priesthood, royal holy nation. I'm thinking I'm doing that. And instead, I go in with a broken heart, with shattered faith, not knowing what I believe. I could not hear anything during that season, but the one thing I heard was God tell me to go to Nashville anyway. So I'm in the back of the bus just crying. Kenny's trying to take care of me. And I get there. I said, okay, I'm going to go to Nashville, but I'm not going to rehearsal. So whatever we record, y'all going to get what you get because I don't even know why I'm here. I don't believe this right now.
Wow.
And so I go to one of the rehearsals I ended up going, and there was a song on that album called You're Going to Get the Glory Out of This. And they were singing it when I walked in. Our team had no clue what we were dealing with. And immediately they felt my spirit. So they stopped everything, started praying over us. And it gave me the strength that I needed to do that album, to do that project. That project didn't sell as much as the others, and it didn't stream as much. But anytime people come to me and testify about when I was going through depression, I was listening to your album, Royalty. And it's the one album they always reference. Yeah. When I was having fear and anxiety and I was in a dark place, I put on this song on your album, Royalty. I hear that all over the world. Not Grace, not Heart, Passion, Pursuit.
Yes.
They talk about royalty. I had to go through that season for people who needed that ministry for that moment in their lives. But during that time, about 3 months after that recording, I made a decision that I got to find my relationship with God again. Mm-hmm. If I'm going to walk out purpose, then I got to believe in what I'm singing about. Yeah. And I got to do that by knowing him over it. I got to get to know him again. Yeah. So I started looking for songs that spoke directly to my season, or even podcasts or sermons or messages. And I honestly, I don't know if it was just me, I couldn't find anything that I didn't feel like I was like being gaslit. Like, you're going to be all right. It's going to be okay. And I kept thinking, I'm still going to be crying tomorrow. Yeah. My heart is still going to be broken tomorrow. Yeah. Where is the ministry that speaks truth about where I am right now? I want to worship with honesty about where I am, and I think God can handle that, and I couldn't find it. So going into this project, I told all the writers, we had some of the greatest writers there, Naomi Rain, Travis Green, Dante Bowe, Chandler, all of us in a room for a week. And I tell them all of these stories about my life, from the grief with my father to losing the baby to being on mountaintops. I said, I want us to write songs where people can put this on in their car. A woman is dropping her kids off and she got to wear a mask until the kids get out for school.
Yeah.
But as soon as they get out, she starts crying because she really doesn't know how they going to eat tonight.
Yeah.
I want this album to speak to her.
Yeah.
I want these lyrics to be so honest that she feels like I am literally in that car with her. And that's what this album is about. It is saying the quiet thing out loud.
Bishop Noel Jones said to me years ago, some stuff you go through is not for you. God makes you go through something just so you'll have something to preach about.
Yes.
Because that's the only way that you cultivate that content ain't through Google.
Yes.
You can't get that through ChatGPT.
You can't get that off of AI. Come on.
You got to live through some stuff to be able to really minister at that level. Mm-hmm. And God drafts us against our will.
Ooh,
for what we don't want. My agony, I'll call it the agony of happiness, was getting married, but looking on that front row and my mother wasn't there.
I know it.
We buried my mother 45 days before my wedding.
Yeah.
And so processing, man, this is what Cecilia wanted.
Yeah.
This is what she was living for, and you ain't here.
Right.
Tama's my sister name. I was like, Tam, get out my mama chair.
That's mama's chair.
So you got to process all of that, and I think sometimes people don't understand the content that you produced that never made the album.
Ooh.
The sermons you wrote that never made the pulpit. Mm-hmm. That at the end of you, like, man, this ain't gonna work.
Yeah.
Yeah. So his Bishop Jake's called Leading While Bleeding.
Leading While Bleeding.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I wrote a book called Do It Anyway. And in that book, I share memoirs over my life about the stories behind the songs. Because people can celebrate with you, lift their hands, and cry and speaking in tongues. And you don't know what I had to go through to birth this song. So let me share it with you. And I believe that book, it opened up a space of transparency in me that I can never go back to being closed.
Yeah.
Because I know that my testimony, probably more than the songs, have ministered to people in a way that they're like, oh, man, if Tasha can make it through that, I didn't have no clue. That's probably what they're saying. I had no clue. I was listening to these songs, You Know My Name, and I didn't know what you were going through. I didn't know that you were depressed. I didn't know you spent 3 days in a room with the curtains closed under the cover.
All the more,
the
liability of favor is people who have favor, outside people think you don't have opposition.
Yeah.
They just think you just roller skating on I-20. Tasha can't be depressed. Ooh. Ain't no way in the world. But the reality is, I contend the evidence of your anointing is every 8 weeks you hit a wall. Something got to happen to stun you so you know it ain't you.
Yeah. Yes.
That I got to be codependent or otherwise I become self-reliant.
Yep.
And I miss it. I'm getting ready to throw you into something. You may walk off this whole set, but ain't no way I'm going to sit here and we not talking about it.
I'm ready for it.
You ready?
I've been praying for it.
Okay, we here. I got to throw you in this debate because everybody want to know where you at. Glorilla goes gospel.
Glorilla goes gospel.
How does using secular artists impact? And I want to go a different way before we go to Glorilla. Mm-hmm. We're going to talk about Glorilla, but can we actually call praise and worship or gospel industry?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, as much as this is an assignment, and this me personally, I am the most artistic person with no gifts. I can't sing. I can't play.
You can sing a little bit.
Listen,
I've heard you hold
I'm a hide behind it. Listen, old school, your husband will know I can line to him.
Yes, line
I'm a line it, but with no further lining. I can't go into that second stanza. But my question is, so what irks me, and we getting a Glorilla, those of y'all who are listening, what irks me is artists on social media who use language, it may be innocent, I got a gig in Detroit. Mm-hmm. Or I'm getting ready to hit the stage. Mm-hmm. And I know it's a cross between two different things, but when I get to that, is it still ushering, or am I being performative?
I think this is loaded. It's a loaded question, and the answer that's in my brain, I'm trying to get it down to. I'll start here. When I first started doing albums,
yes,
it was not a desire of mine.
Yeah.
And you probably can remember back then. I was at Dream Center. Yep. I love leading worship at Dream Center. It is still my joy to serve the local church.
Yes.
I would do it if I wasn't a pastor. I love to serve the local church. And so I had this language of, I'm a worship leader. I'm a worship leader. Even to the moment that I signed with EMI Gospel, they called me because they had heard that I used that kind of language. And they said to me, Tasha, would you consider yourself an artist, or do you consider yourself a worship leader? And I immediately, I'm a worship leader. I'm a worship. This is what I do. Yeah. And, they had just saw me at a recording. They said, well, we want to put you in every platform, on every stage that we can.
Yes.
For you to do what we experienced you do last week.
Yes.
And so I went into it like, hey, I'm a worship leader. This is what I do. I lead people into the awareness of the presence of God. I had all the language.
Yes.
But the creative, the entrepreneurial Tasha could never be denied. And so going into this industry, I couldn't just be a worship leader because there was something else in me that was pushing me to be a great artist. The artist in me made sure that my paperwork was right.
That's right.
The artist in me made sure that I wasn't being misused and abused. The artist in me learned how to perfect doing interviews because I didn't want to be on interviews sounding crazy.
Yeah.
So I would study people who knew how to articulate and communicate very well.
Yeah.
That wasn't a worship leader. That was an artist.
Beautiful.
And no matter how much I denied it, it was something in me that was different than just standing up asking people to lift their hands and acknowledge the presence of God. The artist in me was also ministering to people in that industry. Because when I came into that industry, I remember so clearly one of the executives would say to me, you're the only artist I've ever had who really, really doing what you say. I took that thing to heart.
Wow.
And I made sure that every time somebody in the industry saw me, they saw me living what I was preaching.
I love it.
So yes, I'm a worship leader.
But you're an artist.
But I'm also an artist.
And maybe it means the pushback of the church is the church wants you to just be one.
They want you to just be one. And I couldn't deny it.
Man, you done made me look at it all over again.
I couldn't deny it. And so the question would be, yes, we are called to represent Christ.
Yeah.
But we represent him in an industry.
I love it. Yeah. Okay, now let's get to Glow.
Okay. And I think that sets it up.
Yeah, that set it up. Mm-hmm. So Glow wins a gospel Grammy. Mm-hmm. And our other brother on the West Coast has
BET Award.
Yes. What did I say?
Gospel Grammy.
Yes, he won the BET Award.
She ain't won the Grammy yet.
Yeah, she won a BET Award. She won the BET Award. And so now there's a large conversation on is inviting secular artists in compromising the industry, or does it enlarge it?
Yeah. I have several thoughts on this again.
Yes.
And I think we as a gospel community, we're focusing on this one award.
Yeah.
But I think it's happening holistically in the industry. I mean, you see Beyonce, that's the main one. She won
Snoop Dogg.
Yeah, Snoop is doing gospel. You got people that's crossing over. You got K. Michelle. She's doing country music. I remember when Maverick City first came out, and I was still, I'm always trying to expand myself and grow and learn and see, do I accept that or not? And so I remember when Maverick City first came out, and we loved their worship. Everybody loved it. It was amazing. But I noticed that when each one of them were doing their solo projects, they were leaning more to like pop and R&B style. And I started questioning, like, how you set up a worship audience, but then your solo project is like pop, is leaning to something that you haven't set us up for.
Right.
And I just continued to watch it, and I watched the industry, and I think we are becoming this melting pot. No matter how many people don't want to receive it, the genres are merging. You got Brandon Lake going around doing songs with Jelly Roll. Like, it's people, it's becoming this melting pot of creative ideas. And it doesn't matter how mad we get about it, it's happening holistically. Yes. And I know the church wants to focus on what belongs to us because it's ours. But if it's an industry, it can't just lean towards, we can't say, you said something to me the other day, we can't boycott Target, but say we ain't gonna boycott the Target in Decatur. Right. We're doing it or we're not.
Yes.
So either it's going to be a merge or it's not. No. And I think that's what's happening. And even some of us older ones that's been in the industry for a while, we get a little antsy about it.
Yeah.
Because I'm used to doing praise and worship. But even with this new album, I merged out a little bit. Got Lecrae on there. I'm doing some different things because that's the world that we're living in. And I'm just talking about industry, but I think it's just happening in the world. People are not afraid to get outside of their box.
Yeah, I think that people don't understand that this isn't even a new phenomenon. They like Black people's rhythm, but can't handle their blues. And the reality is, from your parents' generation to mine to now this, and will become our children, this debate happened when folk forgot Teddy Pendergrass came out of a quartet.
Come on.
Al Green from Memphis. You on your way to Memphis. Al Green comes out of gospel. I grew up with Casey and Joja in Baltimore, and the Haley Singers before they became Jodeci.
That's it.
I remember the very first time Michelle Williams, my dear friend, out of Destiny's Child, did a gospel album.
Yeah.
I brought it to Empowerment Temple. I was in Baltimore at the time. The old mother's like, I got to see what this going to be. All the young kids was like, Destiny Child in the building. They couldn't hear nothing. Yeah, excited. Just keep looking at the side door to see if Beyonce coming. Yeah. So this is not a newfound phenomenon, a new conversation. And I think that the grace that is on the throat of Black people is unmatched.
Yep.
I was talking to some college students. Can you imagine the Middle Passage brought millions of us to the United States? And when we came in chains, we had no instruments, but mastered all of them once we got here. There's not an instrument Black people can't play and have not gone gold in.
Yeah.
From the harp to the trumpet to the piano.
There's not one.
It's just a musical inclination in us that we've got to really safeguard. I want to talk to you in a spiritual vein, a spiritual lens, as an artist, as a praise and worship leader, that, and preachers are going to throw tomatoes at this podcast, is music more effective than preaching? And I'm going to lay this out here. They getting ready to be mad. There's a reason the longest book in the Bible is songs. There's not 150 sermons.
Wow.
There's 150 songs. The ministry of music is so important, is so impactful. What do you have to do, knowing you carry that heavy instrument to safeguard the spiritual warfare that is aimed at your instrument?
I want to answer that, but I want to give a little bit of context from the worship leader, because I think it's a good moment to encourage the worship leader about their assignment.
Yeah.
I was graced and favored to be mentored by one of the greatest worship leaders in the world.
Oh, don't give me credit. Don't give me credit. Listen, it's not me.
He's one of your best friends who God also called to pastor.
Yes.
And in that, one of the things that he and I both discover is that there is a marriage between the two.
Yeah.
Travis Green said something to us that I just hinge on. People will sing what they won't say.
Ooh.
They'll sing these songs and get home and think about what they just said a little bit later.
Yeah.
I believe that if the pastor leans into the oil that's on the worship leader and vice versa, there will be a marriage that disciples people so well that we would see such a maturity and a growth in our churches.
I agree.
But there's always been this friction between the music and the word. I mean, it's from the beginning.
No, that's why I thank God every day for Jonathan Nelson. I'm telling you, yes. Jonathan Nelson was born to walk alongside me in ministry.
Yes.
And that's such a rare gift. I hear so many pastors that are in consternation, so many worship leaders who hit a brick rubber wall. Like, man, what the man want? Yep.
Right.
You dissatisfied, but you can't tell me what you want to hear.
Yep.
I want you to talk about, because you've been in both of those spaces, how important it is that the connection between the pastor and the minister of music or the worship leader is.
Absolutely. I believe, of course, the Bible says that God calls pastors after his own heart.
Yeah.
And I think we as worship leaders, if we can digest that, knowing that, okay, if pastor's preaching this series or if he's teaching this lesson, then let me lean into that, because I trust that he's heard the heart of God.
Yeah.
You know, and so the songs that we sing should be pushing that same message.
Yes.
It shouldn't be, you shouldn't be preaching on deliverance and I'm over here
talking about harvest.
Yeah, what are we doing? We had two different churches.
Yeah.
I think it's the role of the worship leader for one, you can't be lazy. You got to study. You got to find the tools that are aligned with where God has your church right now. And I think we found, I saw William McDowell post something the other day that I think is so true, is so honest, that we've come now to this place where we have the famous worship leader, where and I said something to somebody the other day where I will take my part and repent, because we took the platform, but we didn't expose a lot of our testimony or what we did on the back end. Yeah. People saw me with Bishop Murphy, but they didn't see in detail how I served, where God can trust me with the platform that he trusts me with. Yeah. And I think there are young people who may have been watching us who have come up now, and they see the albums and they see the awards, but they didn't see that the local church is still my heart.
Yes.
They did not see that God's people will always be my heart, whether I win an award or not. Yeah. You know, and that's where you get, I got to address this, that's where you get the conflict online, where people are crying out because they didn't win an award. When I think Glorilla got the award, but God got the glory. Like,
that's good.
Like we got so in our emotions and feelings that we didn't see at the end of the day that God's glory was being magnified at the end of the BET Awards. They closed with a gospel artist.
Yeah.
We don't even put an emphasis on the fact that the award that Glorilla won was named after a gospel legend. Let's celebrate the things, what God is doing. Yeah. God got the glory. No, you know, and so I think now we got to go back and let the main thing be the main thing.
Yeah.
Because the reason why, and I will always believe this, the reason why God can trust me with the platforms he trusts me with, or with the awards that I have, is because he saw that I was consistent when I had nothing. Like, I was faithful when I had nothing. I would get up and I would lead worship at the Dream Center every Sunday and go home and be depressed. But I was committed to what God called me to do.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, God is like, even when she was at her lowest, she gave me her gift. And so I can trust her with what I trust her with.
Yeah.
And I don't know that we were as verbal back then with these worship leaders who are coming up now. And that's why I thank God for the opportunity to be able to write a book so they can read it, so that your heart is aligned with God's heart.
Yeah.
You know, so I don't think we should be all up in arms about what happened at the BET Awards.
Yeah.
You know, so that's my heart.
Yeah.
I think we should be more up in arms about the instability of some of the people at our churches.
Yeah.
You know, you're the worship leader. You're called there. You're assigned there. Make sure that you have the main thing, and then God will put his favor on everything else.
I love it. What has been your greatest disappointment in your career?
Greatest disappointment in my career. I wouldn't call it a disappointment. I think I'll say this. I remember when I did my album One Place Live, it was the follow-up after Grace, which had Break Every Chain on it. And everybody kept coming to me saying, hey, it's time for you to do a new album, time for you. And I was always spirit-led. But I had like this, I felt like I was being rushed. And then they started asking me, what's your next Break Every Chain? And honestly, I didn't have the maturity or the experience that I have now, but I knew I had to stand on business and be like, there is only one Break Every Chain.
Yeah.
So I can't promise you that there's another one on this record. And I think so many people are stuck in a season trying to chase down what happened, what was, you know, and we've seen it with so many different artists trying to produce the same song over and over, do something else. God is doing, he has so many ideas for you.
Yeah.
You know, and I felt like with One Place Live, the one thing, and because I felt like that was such a great album, I feel like, and released when he told me to, I think that project would have been, I think it would have been much more of a blessing to people.
Yeah.
Yep.
I've read something that the greatest preachers never have a mega church. The greatest actors are never in a movie. And the greatest singers never get an album. One of the greatest frustrations in life is to be gifted but not have an opportunity that matches.
Wow.
I want you to really give encouragement, because there's some local praise leader who can tear it down.
Yeah.
But nothing is opening. And I'm not just talking about singers. I'm talking about across the chasm of whatever your profession is. I've never met one preacher who's told me that they satisfied with the size of their church. Not one.
Wow.
Yeah, we always looking for more and next and greater and bigger and larger. I think because we're the byproducts of a consumer society.
Yeah.
We're always reaching for what is that next space and how it is that we get there. But how do you encourage somebody who is looking for the tangibles of success when the success may be spiritual? You know, I tell preachers all the time, and they look at me with their jaws dropped. Dr. King never pastored more than 400 people.
Wow.
And so from a church that held 400 people, changed the whole world. He was never the biggest pastor in the city that he was in.
Wow.
But he the only one that got a holiday. Yeah. Yeah. So we talk about shun not small beginnings, but we only quote that when we get big.
Yeah. Right.
That's the only time we don't shun small beginnings is once we get big. But those who are anointed, and it sounds like you under oppression, affliction, a curse, a fight, because it just ain't breaking. And that may be the assignment.
Yes. Yeah.
You are assigned to 150.
Wow. Yeah. And we got to be good with that. So when you started saying that, and I've never really thought of this that way, I feel like when people say something like, I don't have enough members, I don't have enough opportunities, in my mind, it just translated as them saying, I'm not good enough.
Yeah.
And I think ultimately what we have to do is we got to change our minds about how we see ourselves and where God has us.
Yeah.
That's easier said than done.
Yes.
Because God might say, you know, you are beautifully and wonderfully made, and I am just proud of you ministering to those 150 people.
Yes.
Can we receive that?
It's
and
hard.
I think it's about us seeing ourselves. So now I got to bring it back to you. Because we're talking about the masses, you're talking about ministering to people, you're talking about doors open. But the truth is, it always comes back to you personally.
Yeah.
How do you feel about yourself? And, we talked about my weight loss and all that kind of stuff. And I feel like I can really speak into that. Because there were years where I was ministering to people and I didn't like myself. I didn't like the way I looked. And here I am talking about, God made me in his image and his likeness, but I don't like this image.
Yeah.
And I think what I'm telling people to do is what I had to do. What you don't like, you change.
Yes. Yes.
And change is not easy to do.
Yes.
It's not changing your mind. It's not easy to do. Changing what culture has taught you is not easy to do. And changing your habits is not easy to do, but it's a choice.
And not liking yourself is not just always about weight, shape, or complexion.
That's it.
I found out, Tasha, and I hate even saying this, some of the most anointed and gifted people, their self-hatred only shows through insecurity.
Mm-hmm.
You got all that gift. Why you hating on me? God, you got all that oil.
Why you
expending energy on me?
Oh,
rejoice always. Go over there.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, because my sister is a therapist, said something that has helped me get back on the ground. She says, most of the people who fight you have not accomplished half as you. Only fight people who are in your weight class. It's a waste of your energy.
It is a waste of your energy.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, there's a lady online going ham on Jamal Bryant ain't a leader because he didn't boycott Amazon. Target ain't nothing.
Oh, my goodness.
Hey, man, you lead Amazon. That's what you feel called to do.
That's what you feel called to do.
Do that.
I had this thing, and I started telling my team this years ago, and people might not like it, but you were asking, how do I cover the gift? And I don't know if I answered that, but I will answer it now. I have this thing where everybody like Tasha. And my team knows it. Everybody loves Tasha.
Yeah.
And me digesting that and thinking that way, it has protected me from any backlash. Because in my mind, so they already know. Don't bring me no clips.
Yes.
I don't want to see no magazine articles. I don't want to see anything that's not aligned, that's not going to keep my mind focused on what God has called me to do. I don't care what everybody else is saying. Because everybody loves Tasha.
That's great.
That's like literally. And I don't bring me nothing else.
I love it. Everybody loves Chris.
Everybody loves Jamal.
I love Tasha. I am so grateful that you came. Before we go, people are going to be able to see you up close. You got a tour coming through.
Yes.
Tell us about that.
The Whole and Free tour is coming in October. And I wanted to do something different because I feel like a lot of times we have people come out to our tours and they leave on a spiritual high. And as soon as you get out the door, them same problems you left in your car gonna meet you in your car. And so this time I'm bringing with me a inspirational speaker.
Yeah.
So Dr. Jackie Green is gonna be there. Nice. And then we have Kobe Campbell.
Oh,
so we're going to have a moment where we just deal with people, the mental.
Yeah.
So we're going to leave mentally free.
It's a one-day retreat.
It's a one night only.
I got it.
Whole and free.
How can people find out about the tour to know the cities?
You can go to wholeandfreetour.com.
Yes.
Yeah.
And for the saints, WHOLE.
Yes, WHOLE.
Thank you so very much. I'm glad you stopped by. You pulled the RV up on us.
Yes, we did.
She was trying to hide it. But those of y'all who are under 45, you don't remember the Partridge Family, but it's a Partridge Family bus outside of my church. I'm going to sneak pictures of it while they are pulling off. And listen to me, I'm telling my media team now, that is going to be just for my subscribers. Y'all gonna tour around the bus and see what y'all. Ain't no Bentley outside.
That's it.
Ain't no Rolls Royce outside. It ain't even a Sprinter.
It's an RV.
Marvin said it ain't a Sprinter. It's an RV. She's still humble.
Yes,
she's
it's
still
my
with
home away from home. I take it everywhere.
So you want to do the behind the scenes of the Tasha Cobbs Leonard Mobile. Y'all stay tuned. I'm going to show it to you. It's for subscribers only. For subscribers only. Can they tour around your bus?
Yes. Yes, y'all want to see it?
Yeah, come see the bus. We going outside. Love y'all. Make sure that you like, follow, subscribe, and share. Tell everybody you know that Tasha Cobbs Leonard is in the building and has given her whole heart, her whole spirit. She just didn't sing anything.
Oh.
Break every chain.
Break every chain.
There it is. Break every chain.
See, I told you could sing.
There it is. Thank you. I'll see y'all later. Goodbye.